emergenciestops.net, striving to make life more organized, plan and prepare for unexpected circumstances, and sort out the mess in everyday living. My name is Shay, and today we're going to be talking more about life emergencies at home. So just as in the case of a business having a business continuity plan, how do you keep the business running in the case of some unexpected emergency or some situation, some disaster? It's just as important to have a plan like that for your home, especially if you have small children, but no matter what your living circumstances are. So whether you are living alone, maybe it's just you and your spouse, maybe a roommate, if it's the entire family, everybody needs a plan for unexpected circumstances. It could be a fire, it could be a home intruder, it could be a weather event. So as I'm filming this, we just had some tornadoes and some pretty rough weather come through the southeast part of the country last night, early morning hours, and there were several deaths over the course of several states. And as I'm filming this, we're in the middle of this COVID-19 SARS-2 virus pandemic in the country, and life is a little bit different for a lot of people. Working from home, unemployed, and even when things get back to quote unquote normal, what will that look like? It might not look exactly the same as it did before everything started deteriorating as a result of this virus in February and March of 2020. Some of these plans may need to be adjusted as things like this occur. So a working plan should be just that, a work in progress. It's not just an evacuation plan. It's not just how to get out of the house. It might be how to shelter in place. It might be where to hide. It might be where to put the children in a safe place in the home so that you can deal with whatever the situation is. So in the case of an intruder in the home, we're going to be talking about where is the best place to hide small children. And obviously by small children, I mean from, say, toddlers up, because babies are a whole different ball game. But for small children that can take direction and understand the concept of hiding for the purposes of an emergency, we'll be talking a little bit about how to best protect them. When an emergency occurs, you have to have a signal that we're under an emergency. There's the alert system when there comes to an Amber Alert that you might get on your phone that tells you when a child's been abducted and you're looking for a particular vehicle. There could be a weather alert. There could be tornado sirens, things of that nature. There needs to be a similar alert in your home. So that needs to be a code. That needs to be something that is not used in everyday language around your house. It needs to be something that's very unique and discernible and easy to remember and easy to call out. You don't want to get tongue-tied on a complicated word when you're trying to say that there's something wrong. A mixture of numbers and letters. It could be something that means something to only your family. It's so important to get the children involved and let them actually invent the code. It's going to be their drill. It's going to be their plan. The biggest part of all this is practice, is having the drills, because the repetition is obviously the best way to learn, but it's also the best way for the children to get involved and know how it's going to work, and it becomes second nature when it actually has to be done. So get them involved in what the code even will be, so that they know, I invented that, I remember that, and now I know what to do with that. It could be code violet. It could be a combination of numbers and letters, 12Q, whatever, it doesn't matter. Make sure it doesn't have anything to do with a pet's name, obviously, not a current pet that you have in your home. You don't want to alert pets that and cause them to say, hey, it's playtime. You want to avoid things, once again, in everyday language. You don't want it to be anybody's name that you're going to use in regular conversation, maybe when you're on the phone. So it needs to be something very unique, but something very memorable and easy. Let's just use Violet as an example. So, code Violet. The children need to know exactly where they're supposed to go. And where is that? Once again, a safe, protected area within the home. Somewhere in the laundry room. It could be in some of these things will reveal themselves when you're playing hide and seek around the house. Children may find the best places to hide without you ever thinking they could even be hiding places. So once again, it can be a game. Start it with a hide and seek game and start learning some of the best places to hide, and then incorporate that into the emergency plan. Here's the thing you're thinking about when you're talking about hiding places and protection for an intruder. Where's the last place they're going to look? Where's the first place they're going to look? Obviously, this is hard to talk about, this is hard to think about, because this, hopefully, God forbid, would never happen to anyone. But it can. So the whole purpose of this is making sure that you're prepared for it. You want to have peace of mind to know that you have a plan if that were to ever happen. So it's not just knowing that if it happens there is a plan, it's knowing that each and every day it's one less thing to think about or to worry about. The children go and hide, and what's in that hiding space? You don't know how long this is going to last. So the intruder comes in. The first place the intruder might look is a place where the children would be, at obviously their bedroom, under their bed, in their closet. Some maybe obvious places that as they're going through the house, they would look for children. And once again, hard to think about, but why would they look for these opportunities in the criminal's mind? It could be to use the children as leverage. It's not pleasant to think about, but you're more apt to comply with any request knowing that your loved one's in danger, even more so than yourself. The intruder comes in, can't find the child, you say, and this is part of your practice as well. Remember, you have to be prepared and not panic just as much as the child has to be prepared and not panic. Your roommate has to be prepared and not panic just as much as you. So this is why it has to involve the entire household. One person panics and the plan could fall apart. So you need to know what the correct responses would be. I see there's a child's room. Where's the child? Spending the night with Nana. Spending the night with a friend. After they know that the child is not in the home as far as they understand, guess what? The child has to remain perfectly silent. So now we have to plan what's in the space that the child needs in order to be perfectly quiet in their hiding spot. These are things like, number one, a flashlight or some sort of small lantern. The hiding place obviously is probably going to be rather dark. So the child needs some sort of light so that they're not further scared. The child might need earmuffs, some sort of ear protection, some sort of noise canceling protection on their ears, because there are things that are going to be heard that would scare the child and cause him or her to want to come out of the hiding spot. Part of scaring an intruder off is going to be screaming, distracting, doing any erratic behavior that the intruder is not expecting to see. The intruder thinks that you're going to comply. They have the power. If you act crazy, they no longer know how to deal with the situation. They're not used to this. They're used to being in full control. So get them out of their comfort zone so that they are more distracted, and that way you have a better chance of taking action against the intruder if need be. Where is a weapon if you need a weapon? You need to strategically place those around the house. And I say weapon because some people don't like firearms, but it could be a knife, it could be a bat, it could be a golf club, it could be anything to be used to defend yourself. You need to know where such an object is and how to get yourself to that object if you need it and if you have the opportunity to do so. An experienced intruder, just as wanting to know where the children are going to be, would want to know where the weapons are going to be. So you need to strategically place those weapons so that they are not easily found by the intruder, or that they are not where the intruder thinks they are, because an experienced intruder is going to try to keep you away from those places. Part of the practice should be trying to simulate as much as possible what would really be happening. The child's in a hiding place. What would really be happening? There's probably going to be a lot of noise. I would suggest making a lot of noise. Remember the ear muffs, the ear protection. You don't want the child to make any noise. You want them to be silent. Therefore, you're not going to want anything such as a radio or any even something in the headphones. You don't know how that could possibly come. The sound could come out of the headphones if they don't have it wrapped around their ears real tight. So they just need to know that everything is completely silent. No electronic devices in a hiding place. Electronic devices cause noise. No noise in a hiding place, right? Make it a silent place. Something that would not cause any noise as you're turning pages. So it would have to be a laminated sheet, maybe a story or something like that. They can sit in there and silently pray. They can think about different thoughts, but they cannot make any sounds. But at the same time, under the practice, during the rehearsal, you need to make a lot of noise, because there should be probably a lot of noise and chaos happening when they're in their hiding place. Unfortunately, the noise could end up being not only screaming, but let's say gunfire, or banging of pots and pans, or the baseball bats. Remember the weapon that we talked about. Remember there could be the golf club hitting the wall, things of that nature. So during these rehearsals, some pots and pans banging, some screaming, some yelling, some banging on the walls, things of that nature should be part of the plan, so that the child knows what could happen, but that everything's going to be okay. And the noise is all part of what could happen, may not happen, but if it does, don't freak out. That's why you're in your safe spot. Everything's going to be fine. When the child is hidden inside of a shelter in place, a hiding spot, how do they know when it's safe to come out? That's got to be part of the plan. Part of the training is knowing who they can come out for, how that person should identify themselves. They will know the voice of the mother. They will know the voice of the father. They will know the voice of Nana or whoever. They might not know the voice of the policeman or the fireman that's there to rescue them. So they need to know how that person would identify themselves, or once that person comes, so say police officer, maybe you're disabled or you're outside of the house at the time when the situation is resolved, and the police say, "Where's your child?" You tell them, they go to get them. The child needs to understand who that person is based on maybe the uniform, the identification process, even the small children. So we started taking my daughter to the fire station at a very young age. Once again, make everything fun for the child. None of this has to be anything but fun for the child. Part of our emergency plan is taking the child to the fire station. The reason for that is she got to know some of the firefighters. She got to sit on the trucks, of course. She got the little firefighter hat. She got the stickers. She was an honoree of the fire station there for the day. And by the way, when you do that, take them something to appreciate them. Love on them a little bit. These are people, these are first responders. Take them some donuts, take them some sandwiches, take them some cupcakes. Take them something to show your appreciation. Don't just take your kid and say, "Please help me." We took her to the fire station. She met some of the firefighters. She got comfortable with them. Then I said, "Would you all mind getting dressed out? At least one of you." I wanted them in their full gear when they're going into a fire. I wanted them to be dressed completely, that with the masks, the respirators, the whole 9 yards, so that she would understand what they look like when they're in this big outfit where you can't see their face any longer, and not to be scared by that. And then once she got to know the firefighter, she saw the firefighter get dressed out, she saw all the gear on him, and then I said, now let's take the headgear off, let's take the mask off again. And I showed her it's still this firefighter that you got to know just a few minutes ago. It's still the same person, they're just in a costume, they're in a uniform, they're in protective gear. So always remember to start with that type of process. Take them to the police station, show them what police uniforms typically look like, show them that they typically carry a firearm on their side, they have a belt with tools, different things that police officers need. They have a badge. They're either here, or maybe if they're in tactical gear, they have a badge down on their waist somewhere, or around their neck. They typically wear these types of colors, or let them know what police officers typically look like, and let them know that those are people to help, right? So you want them to be comfortable from an early age with who these people are and what they look like in their uniforms, so that they are not scared and they know it's safe if it's not a family member that comes to get them from their hiding place. So we spent a lot of time talking about intruder situations and emergency protocols. There are other types of situations that require different types of protocols, such as fire. It doesn't have to be the large catastrophic fire where the entire house is gone. It could be as simple as a small grease fire in the kitchen got out of control. To protect yourself in case that were to spread before you can put it out, call the code. What does that plan look like? A fire plan, an escape plan, looks a lot different than a shelter-in-place intruder be protected plan. It looks like we have to get out, but we have to get out safely. So let's talk about fires. Getting out seems like it should be easy, but what if the fire is in the hallway blocking where you need to get in order to get out of the house, the hallway, the pathway to the door? Every home should have various methods of escape outside of just using the doors. The windows, obviously, you have to think about a couple things. Number one, how close is the window to the ground? And number two, how do I safely get out of that window? How many times do you not open all the windows in your house for a long time, and when you go to open one for whatever reason, it's stuck? It's been painted, the paint seal has not been broken. It's just the swelling of the material that maybe the trim is made of. Because of the moisture, the heat, the cold weather, whatever it is, has caused it to expand and contract and jam, and you're not able to get it open. And you're definitely, if you can't get a window open in a normal situation, the chances of you getting it open in an emergency situation are very small because you're panicking. So what happens? The window probably has to be broken out. That poses a whole different set of circumstances, especially when you're talking about children, but even when you're talking about an adult, you're talking about where that window is going to break from and to. Where is that glass going to go? You don't want to further complicate the situation of trying to get out of the house by then having injuries based on somebody got glass in their face because they were trying to break a window out. The child, if they're going to come out the window or if they're going to stay in their room, so smaller children, they need to have a spot in their room that you know they are going to go when that code is called, so that you can either come through their door if it's accessible, or you can come through an outside window, breaking that window inward, but knowing they're not in the area where the window is going to break. So if it's on the other side of the room, in their closet, for example, something like that, then you can break that window in, come into that window. If it's on a lower level and it's accessible from outside, you come in, you get the child, you come out. Remember, every situation requires a separate code. You don't want to use the same code, obviously, for an intruder that you would use for the fire. One is trying to keep people in the house and stay safe. The other one is trying to keep people out of the house to be safe. Use the right code for the right circumstance. Come up with different codes that cannot be too closely related and interchangeable. A vital component to all of this is practice. Practice, practice, practice. Make it fun, make it a game, practice monthly, but go through the drill so it's fresh on your mind. Everything is specific to your situation. Every protocol will be different. It will also be different considering your circumstances. Once again, remember, shelter in place right now because of COVID-19 changes your plan a little bit. Changes in your life need to also result in changes in your emergency planning. Remember also, it is unique to you. Do not attempt to use someone else's plan because they're admired, they're smart, they know all these wonderful things, and you trust them with a lot of other things, so therefore you think you can trust them with their plan. Their plan was built for their house. Their plan was built for their living situation. Their plan was built for their family. Your plan needs to be built for your family, not for somebody else's. It's specific to each household, and each set of circumstances changes with the addition of a child, the addition of a pet. Let's not forget pets. Let's not forget the important little furry creatures around our house. You have to have a plan in place for their evacuation in the case of a fire, just as you do for every other thing in your home. We're going to get into some of the important documents and the important ways of protecting irreplaceable items in your home in the case of a fire evacuation. We'll get into that in later posts, later blogs, later videos. So for right now, I just wanted to concentrate primarily on the actual plan for the household when it comes to the code that you call, how it's unique to you and your circumstance, and to make sure that you're prepared for your house and that you can sleep a little bit easier at night. Thank you for watching. Please click that little thumbs up, like icon right below this video on YouTube. If you don't mind, apparently that's really good for the YouTube algorithms. And subscribe to the channel, that would be awesome. And please keep up with the blogs on the website as I add more of those. And contact me anytime. My contact information is on the website, so you can email me and get in touch with me if there's anything that I can do for you. Thank you again for your time. This is lifeops.net. My name is Shay. We'll see you again soon. LifeOps is a proud sponsor of AwesomeAtaxiaKids.com and a proud advocate for FARA, which is Friedrich's Ataxia Research Alliance, at curefa.org.